What is going on, all you Pokemon collecting maniacs out there? This is Ryan, the PikaPikaPaPa, and today we are going to be looking at this massive data set. So we're going to be looking at the top 20 cards from every single Sun and Moon regular set, and by regular set I mean it was available in a booster box, not the specialty sets, which you can only get in ETBs, right? So we're going to be looking at the top 20 cards from all of those sets. There's 12 sets, 20 cards per set, so we're going to be looking at 240 cards from the Sun and Moon era, and we're going to be seeing how they have performed year to date, and it is, I'm telling you right now, it is absolutely fascinating to me. Like, I knew that there was a lot of movement in the Sun and Moon space, but until I actually put this video together, I had no clue as to what was actually going on. Now, I will say this has been so enlightening to me, and I warehouse this data every single month that moving forward, I'm going to do a whole series on this, right? We're going to look at Sun and Moon, we're going to look at Sword and Shield, we're even going to look at Scarlet and Violet, and we're going to start looking at these top 20 singles cards month over month, because the fact is, if I had been paying more attention to this month over month over month, you know, even though I knew Sun and Moon was getting hot, you know, I didn't understand the whole velocity, and that really every single card in Sun and Moon has been really hot, and you're going to see that in this incredible data set that we're going to be looking at here in just a few minutes. And I am so pumped about it that I'm committing to doing this every single month, because hey, listen, when we're trying to play chess, when everybody else plays checkers, the sooner we understand trends, the sooner we can understand price movements, you know, the better prepared we are, you know, and the better collectors and investors, and the more fun we can have in all of this. So anyways, I think it's a really cool data set. I can't wait to share this with you, and I can't wait to start doing this every single month, because there is tons and tons and tons of value in this. So with all of that being said, if that gets you excited, listen, we're building an amazing community here, and I would love it if you hit that subscribe button. If you like what you see, give us a thumbs up. Questions or comments, drop them down below. Those three small things go a long way in helping my small channel out. So without further ado, let's get into this crazy amount of data, right? So right here, this is the actual price points for all of those top 20 cards and all of these Sun and Moon sets from December of 2022. And as I said earlier, you know, I warehouse this data every single month. Now, you don't have to get into the nitty gritty here. I color coded so you can kind of see, you know, where the big cards are and, you know, where there's some weakness. So green is cards over $40, right? And then red is cards that are $15 or less, and you know, the yellow and white kind of represent in between. But the interesting thing for me when I looked at this, and I compared it to Sword and Shield as well. So in December of 2022, Sun and Moon had 51 cards that were over $40, okay? But then when I looked at Sword and Shield had 49 cards that were over $40. So really, I mean, you don't get much closer than that. So Sun and Moon and Sword and Shield had the exact same number of cards that were over $40 at this point in December 2022. Now, the other thing we see here that is very similar to Sword and Shield, right, is you see a little bit of weakness in the earlier sets, right? We know the base set comes out, and then the first couple sets is kind of Pokemon Company just getting their feet wet into a whole new era, so we typically see those sets are a little lighter, and then towards the end of the eras, we see the sets get a little bit stronger, and that's what we see here. Cosmic Eclipse, Unified Minds, Unbroken Bonds team up, like that back end third are performing really, really well, and they're strong here in December of 2022. So now, what I did was I said, okay, listen, here is where the card prices are today, and look at all of that green. It is absolutely crazy. So when you first look at this, you might think it looks relatively similar, but it is completely and totally different. Like, there is so much green on this compared to the last slide. Now, we see these end era cards and end era sets, which we had just talked about, like the back third, Cosmic Eclipse, Unified Mind, Unbroken Bonds team up, are just absolutely crushing the game. And now, instead of having 51 cards over $40, the entire Sun and Moon era now has 81 cards over $40. That's an increase by 70% over the last 9 months, which is absolutely insane. And then guess what happened? Sword and Shield saw that number decrease, right? From 49, now they now have 33 cards that are over that $40 price point. And I did a whole video, same premise, on Sword and Shield a couple weeks ago if you guys want to check that out. And again, that's something that we expect, right? Sun and Moon is done, right? Very, very done. Sword and Shield still has a lot of product available at MSRP or less, and we know that singles prices are under a lot of pressure, you know, when you can buy the booster boxes and stuff at MSRP. So I'm not surprised that happened with Sword and Shield. What I was surprised with was how aggressively Sun and Moon grew. Like, that is an incredible number of cards that have jumped in price. And when you look at these top cards right here, that is really the most fascinating to me. These top cards, they have just absolutely exploded in price. It is insane to see the number of the actual percentage gains, which we're going to look at in just a minute for these top cards. The other thing that was really cool to me was we talked about how, you know, the beginning era, though, the beginning of the sets, kind of have a little bit of weakness to them. But what I've seen here is even those early era sets have performed well. Look, now every single set has a card over $40 in it, and if you saw the previous slide, that wasn't the case. So we're starting to see just the overall Sun and Moon era picked up a lot of steam over the last 9 months. Now, what I'm going to show you right here is this is what happened in Sword and Shield. I just alluded to the fact that we did this a couple weeks ago, and what was an interesting thing to me to call out was in December 2022, if you were to buy one of every single top 10 singles or top 20 singles card in the Sword and Shield era, it would have cost you $7,887, right? Just shy of $8,000. Now, if you were to buy that, it would cost you $6,791. Again, the whole set, if you were to buy one of every top 20, that's down 16%. Again, not a big deal. We've had restocks. You know, some of these sets were brand new when they came out. Silver Tempest was only a month old when we pulled this data in December 2022, and we understand the Pokemon pop and flop. So the fact that a lot of these have come down, not a big surprise, but I do think this is something for us to keep in mind when we look at how Sun and Moon has performed when it's fully baked, like all the way out of it. Nothing is coming out, like we're not going to find more booster boxes except these random restocks on Pokemon Center, which randomly come up and then everybody buys them out in a nanosecond. So I think this is interesting information for us to think about when Sword and Shield in the future, maybe even a year from now, when Scarlet and Violet is all the way out and Sword and Shield is kind of totally gone. So let's see how Sun and Moon has performed from a percentage standpoint. And this is insane. Look at all of the green on here. Look at every card but 14 went up over the last 9 months. Every single card in the top 20 for Sun and Moon has gone up over the last 9 months, except for those 14 that are in yellow right there. This was so crazy to me. I went back and I checked my equation twice because I was like, there's no way this can be true. Then I went and I pulled random samples and it was all correct. Like, the math is right. These are incredible. It's just absolutely insane to think about, right? Now, if you were to buy every single one of these singles in December of 2022, that would have cost you just shy of $8,000. Would have cost you $7,980. If you were to buy those now, that would cost you $12,640. So if you just aggregate the top 20 from every single set in the Sun and Moon era, that is a gain of 58% over 9 months. I don't even know what to say. That is absolutely crazy. I don't know if we'll ever see anything like that again. Like, this is just, I don't know. I'm kind of at a loss for words, which rarely happens. But even in the weaker sets, right? Like, even in the beginning of the eras, look at that. They're almost all green. Every card in Burning Shadows went up over the last 9 months. Every card in Sun and Moon went up over the last 9 months. Heck, the top card in Sun and Moon is up 140%. Even Team Up, one of the most expensive sets when we did this in December of 2022, the top 3 cards are all up over 100%. That is absolutely insane. And then look at Cosmic Eclipse. Every single card in the top 20 is up over 50% in Cosmic Eclipse, except for number 20, and that one is up 49%. Like, that's close enough to say every single card, every single top 20 card in Cosmic Eclipse is up 50% over the last 9 months, which is insane. You have 16 cards that have doubled. You have 77 cards that are up 50% or more. So 32% of all of these cards are up 50% or more, which is absolutely insane. So then I said, listen, I need to take a pause here. I know the market was really, really hot in the beginning of the year, and it has been cooling off a little bit, right? Everybody knows that the Pokemon market isn't what I would call in any kind of free fall or anything like that, but it's starting to normalize, it's starting to soften up. So I said, hey, why don't we take a look at these in a more recent view? So what I did was I went from May to right now. Same equation, same math, same everything, but instead of starting in December of 2022, I started in May of 2023 to say, hey, listen, let's cut this window down. Let's come to, a midpoint of the year to now and see where we're at. And even doing that, even going from May to now, it would have cost you $10,045 to buy all of the top 20 cards and all of these sets in May of 2023. And now the value is $12,640. So from May to now, all of the top 20 cards as an aggregate have gone up 25%, which is just crazy. You finally start to see a little more price drops and you see some flats in there. Again, it's concentrated more on the early era, right? Like, we've talked about that ad nauseum. You all understand that. Those are the weaker sets. But then when you get further to the left, you see nothing but just an overabundance of strength. Even in this choppy, crazy Pokemon market that we're in right now, we continue to see those big sets continue to throw up big numbers. And that's just something that I think we all should keep top of mind, is there's going to be all this conversation. Lost Origins is getting restocked. Crown Zenith is restocked. Silver Temperance, Brilliant Stars. Like, if you are a big believer that these sets are going to do well in the long run, then forget about that noise. If you're a long-term buy, hold, collector, investor, whatever it is, if you're in this to win it for the long run, Look at what Sun and Moon has done. Now, I will say this, you can't always compare Sun and Moon. Sun and Moon was different. We went through the pandemic with Sun and Moon. Like, there has just been a lot of shifts in the Pokemon market, so we may never see these kinds of crazy returns again, but it is very interesting to see that how these cards have aged and how that their prices have changed when they get to be, remember, this is 2 eras old now, right? Scarlet and Violet, Sun and Moon, or Scarlet and Violet, Sword and Shield, and then Sun and Moon. So it is interesting to see this, and this is just something I'm gonna keep in the back of my mind as Sword and Shield continues to age and age. So listen, my takeaway is this: Sun and Moon is aging like a fine wine. This is just absolutely insane. You know, it's not entirely insulated from the way the market has been moving as of late, but those stronger sets just continue to perform. They just continue to crank out awesome cards, and they just continue to give us some great price appreciation. There is going to be a ceiling at some point, right? These cards can't continue to go up forever, and I do think that there will be some type of price correction. Doesn't mean they're going to go down 10, 15, 20%, but it's got to slow down at some point. They just can't go forever. Maybe it'll be like Icarus. It gets too close to the sun and falls a little bit. We will see. And again, don't expect Sword and Shield to do exactly what Sun and Moon has done. But again, it is always important to look at the past. It's always important to understand how previous sets have performed because that does give us a little window, at least into some patterns that we might see, especially now that Sword and Shield is starting to get some age on it. Again, I want to wait until it's all sold out at the Pokemon Center, which may be a year, year and a half, 2 years from now. I think then we'll start to understand fully what Sword and Shield is going to do. But I'm telling you right now, anytime you can get a Sword and Shield booster box and you can get it at a decent price point, I think that is an absolute steal because this is the type of returns, this is the type of data, this is the type of things that get me excited about the future for the Sword and Shield era, which a lot of us think is a really, really strong era. And listen, as I said, I'm going to start doing a monthly series where we look at this kind of stuff because this is just really cool data. And our goal is to play chess when everybody else plays checkers, so I always want us to be a step ahead, and the sooner we identify trends, the sooner we can get all over that. So I hope you found this information as cool and exciting and just mind-blowing as I have, and I can't wait to share more with you, so you guys have an epic one. I appreciate you. See ya.